BEA book haul. So a couple weeks ago, I went to BEA, Book Expo America. It's this big book convention in New York. And I ended up returning from this trip to New York with a whole bunch of new books. So now I'm gonna show them to you. Now a lot of these are ARCs, or advanced reader copies, which are given out to reviewers before a book is actually released. But I do also have some beautiful finished hardcovers in here, so I'm actually gonna start with those. So first up, I have City of Heavenly Fire by Cassandra Clare. On my first night in New York, after a very long flight, I went to the City of Heavenly Fire launch party, and it was awesome. Of course, I bought the book, and then I got it signed. And then my white balance was ruined, but the book is signed, and that's really all that matters. Cassandra Clare touched this book right here with her pen and her hand. She had to flip the page and everything. It was a really fun night, and I then spent the next 4 nights staying up very late to read this book a little bit each night because it was BA week and I was busy all day, but at night I sacrificed sleep to read this book. And it was so worth it because this book was just, it was beautiful. It was beautiful. Next up is another book that I bought myself. I think all the rest were given to me for free. Ooh, ooh. The 39 Clues Book 1. What is this actually called? It's called The Maze of Bones, and it's by Rick Riordan. There was a little booktube meetup at the Strand where a lot of booktubers and just booktube viewers came and hung out and shopped for books together, and it was really awesome. I only ended up buying this one book because I already had so many that I was bringing home with me. Like, I needed to take it easy with the book buying. So I only bought one, but I have been meaning to pick this up for a while now, and it was only $6.50, so I nabbed it up. And I mostly got this because of Rick Riordan. Like, I don't have a ton of interest in reading the whole series, but I figured I really like Rick Riordan, I might as well give this first book a go. Next up, I have Wanderlove by Kirsten Hubbard, and this was actually a gift from my friend Ariel Bissett. She loves this book, and hearing her talk about it just really made me want to read it too, so the fact that she got it for me is so wonderful, and I'm so happy. Thank you, Ariel, for bringing this book from Canada to New York, and then I brought it to California. This book has gone on quite the journey. Next up, I have These Broken Stars by Amy Kaufman and Megan Spooner. So I was at BookCon just hanging out, and then this boy approaches and starts to hand me this book. And at first, I am really confused. I don't understand that he's giving this to me. But then he goes on to explain that he saw me mention it in my most anticipated books of 2013 video, but he hasn't seen me haul it yet. So he got it for me. And is that not the sweetest thing ever? I asked him his name, and he told me he would tweet me later and let me know. And when he did tweet me later, I was so mad that I didn't know it was him when I was talking to him, because I recognized his name. Like, we tweet all the time, and he's always leaving comments on my videos and going to live shows. So Fred, I'm sorry I didn't thank you better in person, but thank you for the book and all of your supportive comments and tweets. I really, really appreciate everything you do. Next up, I have a book that I don't want, and that is The Darkest Minds in paperback. I already have the hardcover. I love this book, but I already have the hardcover. The only reason I got it is because it came in like a bundle situation with a tote bag. It's a pretty cool tote bag. And it also came with a chapter sample of In the Afterlight, which I don't really want this either. I think chapter samples are stupid. I don't want a chapter sample. I want the whole freaking book or nothing at all. Do any of you guys like chapter samplers? Am I like in the minority in just thinking these are pointless? Or do you guys really love the little like sneak peeks at books that are coming out later? Do you like these? Do you hate them? I kinda hate them. Next up, I have Since You've Been Gone by Morgan Matson. And this is actually signed. I waited in line for a while to attend her autographing session, and I got to speak with her briefly, and she just seems like a really awesome person, so I'm really looking forward to reading her book, especially this time of year, summer. This is like a nice summery read, and the dust jacket is actually beautiful. I like it when books have like special care and detail put into them somehow in the design. Like this, me likey. Next up, I have Tease by Amanda Maciel, and this book is so shiny. You guys know how I feel about shiny books. I like them. And this one is really shiny. It's so shiny. There you are! Do you see yourself? Oh, looking good! My white balance did not like the shiny book, but I like the shiny book. It's so shiny! This is also signed. I got a lot of signed books here, and this is one of them. And it's even beautiful without the dust jacket. It has this nice little splash of red on the front and the spine. Oh, beautiful books. I love beautiful books! And from what I can gather, this is a contemporary novel, but it's not like the cute, light-hearted type. It's more of the serious issue type of contemporary novel, which I haven't really read a lot of lately, so I'm looking forward to this one. And then I have here Burn for Burn by Jenny Han and Siobhan Vivian. I'm sorry, I'm bad at names. I'm sorry. And this book is also signed by both of the authors, who were lovely, and we chatted briefly about the fact that there's a character in this book named Cat. I'm in this book! Not really, but there's a character named Cat, and I don't encounter a lot of cats in books. Katie's, Catherine's, Katniss, Katsa, but not just Cat. Until now. I have found a cat. Next up, I have Horror Store by Grady Hendrix. And I know what you're thinking. Cat? That's not a novel. That's an IKEA catalog. But you're wrong. It is a novel. It's a novel about a haunted furniture store. Does that not sound awesome? Quirk Books, the publisher of this book, actually hosted a little dinner that I was lucky enough to get invited to. I really love how quirky some of these Quirk books are, and I know it's like their name, so you might expect it, but I love it. It's original and cool, and I'm just all the more interested to read this book. Next up, I have Landline by Rainbow Rowell. This was one of the books that I wanted the most at BEA, so I am very, very happy that I got it. I almost didn't. Rainbow Rowell was ticketed, and I didn't have a ticket until I looked down and found one on the ground. Boom! Book! And I got it signed! Rainbow wants me to call her! Maybe, but I'm inferring that as a definitely. I'm gonna find her phone number and give her a ring. I'm just kidding. I'm not gonna do that. Please don't get a restraining order against me, Rainbow. I'd really like to meet you again in the future. But even if I didn't find that ticket, it wouldn't have been a total loss because I actually got the audiobook of Landline. We were just waiting around and then this guy starts passing these babies out, and it was a beautiful moment because at that point we were feeling kind of disheartened, like we'd missed the ticket window, we weren't gonna get Landline, but then I got an audiobook of Landline, and then I got a physical copy of Landline, so now I have both, and I'm not sure if I'm gonna listen first or read first, but I like having those options. The next book I have here is one that I am very, very happy to have, and that is Heir of Fire by Sarah J. Maas. I waited in line for this book for a good 2 hours, but it was worth it. I'm glad I did because I have it in my hand and it's signed! I love this series so much and I can't wait to read this book. I've actually started it. I just read the first chapter, but I started it. And Sarah J. Maas was just so unbelievably sweet and lovely, and she's beautiful, and the book is beautiful, and I can't wait to continue it. And then I have here Afterworlds by Scott Westerfeld. I really love Scott Westerfeld. He's one of my favorite authors, and I really, really wanted to get my hands on this book, but much like Landline, at first the odds just weren't in my favor, and it looked like I wasn't going to get this book. Like, I missed every arc drop, I missed every signing, but then by some random sequence of events, I ended up catching the end of a panel he was on, and after the panel, he had books available and he was signing them, and I got one. He signed it to me, and he also wrote pixelated hearts in there because he saw my tattoos. So he said my tattoos were really cool, and he said he was gonna title his next book Pixelated Hearts, and it was probably a joke, but I hope it's not. I really hope it's not. The next book I have here is Gloria O'Brien's History of the Future by A.S. King. And this book is also signed in silver. So fancy. Meeting A.S. King just made me all the more interested in reading some of her books because she is a really cool person and I kind of want to party with her. Is that weird to say? I think it is, but I don't care. I want to party with A.S. King. Next up, I have Mortal Heart by Robin Lefevers. This is the third and final book in the His Fair Assassin trilogy. I really loved the first book in this trilogy, Grave Mercy, and I have not yet read the second book because I was waiting for the third to come out so I could marathon those last two. So the third one's not out yet. It doesn't come out until November, but I have an advanced reader copy, so I'm going to have an advanced reader marathon. Ha! Next up is another book that I am so happy that I got, and that is The Iron Trial by Cassandra Clare and Holly Black. Two of my favorite authors coming together to write one book. I don't like this flappy thing. Here's the real cover. This is the first book in a new middle grade series that Holly Black and Cassandra Clare will be writing together, and I think this comes out for realsies in September, and this is especially precious to me, not just because I really want to read it, but also because it's signed by both Holly and Cassie. I was actually invited to this scholastic breakfast where I got to meet Cassie and Holly, and also Maggie Stiefvater, the author of Sinner, which I also obtained. Maggie Stiefvater is another one of my favorite authors, and I actually haven't finished the Shiver trilogy yet. This is a spin-off of the Shiver trilogy, but I think now I'm really feeling motivated to do so. I want to finish that trilogy and then read this companion novel. The next book I have here is Vivian Apple at the End of the World by Katie Coyle. I actually hadn't even heard of this book, and I personally was being really picky at BEA. Like, I was only taking books that I really wanted because there were lots of free books going around. I could have come home with a whole lot more, but I was being picky. I didn't want to overwhelm myself, so I almost didn't get this one, but now I'm glad I did. Because reading more about it and hearing more about it from other people who have read it and loved it just has me really pumped to read it. It sounds really cool, and I'm looking forward to it. Next up, I have 1,000 Pieces of You by Claudia Gray. I'm a little bit bummed out by this cover because it's very boring, and it says, "Final art to come," and guess what? The final art has come, and the actual cover is really pretty. So, I'm not happy that I have this crappy non-cover cover, but I am really happy that I have the words inside. And finally, the last book I have here to show you guys today is Zodiac by Romina Russell. This is actually another book that I didn't know too much about when I picked it up, but I saw it, it looked cool, the author was doing a signing, the line was short, so I hopped in line and got it signed. Apparently, this is like an epic sci-fi meets high fantasy kind of adventure-y story that incorporates the 12 zodiac signs and also the mysterious 13th sign. So yeah, I think that sounds pretty cool. I was actually sold at the epic sci-fi meets high fantasy part because that alone just sounds like something I want to read. Okay, so those are all of the books that I got, and now I want to quickly show you some of the non-book things I got at BEA. First up, tote bags. This one might not look that cool at first, but it's actually really nice quality, and I ended up using this as my main tote bag for the week because it's big, it has all these cool pockets, and you can actually see proof that I really used this bag a lot because there's coffee stains all over it from multiple days of spilling coffee because I'm kind of a klutz and I drink a lot of coffee. Then I have the Darkest Minds tote bag that I already showed you guys, but I'll show it again because I like it. It's pretty cool. Then I have a Throne of Glass tote bag with Selena looking badass on one side and the names of some of our favorite characters on the other. Then I have a Harper Teen / Epic Reads tote bag, and this actually has some more fun goodies inside of it. Some really good smelling tea. Like, even though I'm a coffee kind of girl, I still enjoy a good cup of tea. Also, this cute little notebook and pen combo thing, which I'm totally gonna use to take notes as I read some of these books and drink tea. Harper is just providing me with all the things I need. There was also a little package of tissues that said use in case of feels, and I ended up using those at the Tifios premiere when I had many feels. And the last tote bag I have here is this I Read YA tote bag, which I love because I read YA and I am not ashamed of that, so I'ma rock this tote bag with pride. Also with that tote bag, I got this really cool cup. It's like a nice quality cup. It has like a removable straw and a lid, and it says I Read YA. And I read YA, and I love YA, so I'm gonna drink from this with pride too. And then I got a couple of other miscellaneous things, like a little Mortal Instruments pin, a little I Read YA pin, some Heroes of Olympus temporary tattoos, some Mortal Instruments temporary tattoos, and a pretty bitchin' Mortal Instruments hoodie. So yes, there you have it. Those are all of the books and other things I obtained during my week-long trip in New York City. And that is everything I had for this video today. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you have a great night, and I will have another vlog up soon, so I will see you then. Goodbye! I need a thumbnail, I need a thumbnail. Holy shit, this is a lot of books. Some of my booktube friends and I have made a pact to not use the word excited in our book hauls, and it's real difficult. And chatting with him just made me even more excited. But for now, I'm just excited. I can't say excited. Oh! Also, meeting A is King made me all the more excited. I have it early. That's really exciting.